Trap, Cure, best of 5. Trap eliminating Sterile yesterday. Cure eliminating Zound to make it to these semi-finals. As, I guess that says something about, shout out to Carbot Animations or something for the, the break content. It's funny how they're bringing up all these new things today that we've not seen before. It's like almost like today. It's like, oh, 2 days left in the tournament. We had all these graphics made about thanking Carbot and, you know, this video from the players. Maybe we should actually use them in the broadcast at some point. Amazing. Alright, this best of 5. As we get this up and running. As going to be seen in the bottom right, our blue Protoss player is Trap. In the top left, our red Terran is Cure. And Trap is going to get Engineering Bay blocked on his natural. So won't be able to take this natural expansion as easily as he might have wanted to, but for sure, obviously, he can find a way around that. Typically, it's not the end of the world. And it slows you down a little bit. Obviously, there's a reason you do it as a Terran player, but typically the situation here is also just going to be the fact that, you know, Protoss have ways around this. This is not going to be the first time Trap has been Engineering Bay blocked, that's for sure. So I'm sure he has a plan for handling it. He's actually going to get the cancel here of just the probes. Now, he will still let the Zealot finish, it seems. And now Q is going to proc tip a factory. So Q is just going to go hyper-aggressive to start this series off. He did play pretty aggressively against Down yesterday as well, mind you. So this isn't really out of character for him just yet. It's kind of like in line with how he was playing yesterday, to be fair. So yeah, let's see how it continues through. This next is going to drop down on that natural, and as mentioned, the factory is about to be finishing, so you know, we'll be able to well, do whatever he wants to do with that factory. I'm interested. The thing is, with the Engineering Bay block, it's typical to have that wall off up, and it's tough for Trap to know exactly what's going on here. It's tough for him to realize it's a proxy. These Marines are actually going to chase the Zealot away quite handily as well. And now it's going to be a starport build, and it's a proxy Hellions, proxy medevac. Still 4 Marines against, well, the Adept, which is now in some trouble. The Adept going to get chased away a little bit. Just about survives. I mean, if you shade through here, there's another Marine lying in wait. So, yeah, you got to keep on running. Stalker on the map now as well. This is really bad. If all these units keep moving onto the map, and these Hellions are going to strike the main base, and there's just no units there, Trap is going to take so much damage. He is so in the dark as to what the hell is going on at the moment. Just going to be seeing the medevac popping out with this Hellion about to pop out as well. So let's see what Kia can do. He looks as though he's going to get deadly. And to take that medevac down the right side and in toward the main base. So there we go. Hellion's going to unload. Just going to move on forward and just going to go after those probes. Rework is already down. Like I say, units are in the wrong places. I mean, these probes do block the Hellions a little bit. 7 kills. You want a few more than that. One more shot here could get so much more done. We're going to get up to 10 workers killed. I mean, 10 workers ain't bad. Considering the factory and the starport were proxied. And if that comes back and is going to now drop some Widow Mines. And of course, the CC delayed as well. It's not great position to be in from Trap, but it's somewhat playable. Here comes the Widow Mine drop. Let's see how this will do as Trap moving units around. He should be able to deal with this pretty handily. 1 probe. Another Widow Mine is going to lift up. Up, down. Goes down. Nice idea. Unfortunately, didn't quite work out. Medevac's still around. Widow Mine's still building. That means the factory is still on the map while the starport moves home. As, he just kind of dropped off the Widow Mine on cooldown for the Stalker to chase, so I'm not quite sure what the intention was there instead of just keeping it in the medevac. A little mistake there from Kyo, maybe getting a little bit too caught up in his own ideas. As that medevac is going to go down, this Widow Mine is going to be able to get a Stalker, so then finally the end of the aggression, and Trap will have a little bit more freedom to kind of play from this point on. Isn't going to be hounded and harassed by Widow Mines quite as much at this stage. So yeah, a bit of freedom from Trap to kind of focus on his game. He's about to have Blink. We'll see if you can do anything with that going across the map, especially considering the factory is still on the map. You've not been able to get any factory units up at home defensively. And on top of that, you see the Stim Pack, Combat Shield, etc. coming through. I mean, they're not ready yet, so maybe there is a bit of an opening here for Trap to get some damage. Those few Stalkers is going to keep this factory at bay. Love this factory kind of try and bait over the Widow Mine. The Stalkers have Blink though, so they can set that Widow Mine off. And yeah, I think they just did that. They set the Widow Mine off and they're going to go back and kill it now. Well, just the third Nexus from Trap here, as Q continues to build up to 40 SCVs to 42 probes. It's just going to be seeing all the upgrades continuing in from Kira at the moment. So Stim Combat +1. The Stalker's going to get a couple of kills. Just light harassment, but a couple of kills from it is absolutely worthwhile. Anything you can do to try and slow down what will be the Terran push, as long as it isn't costing you units. The thing is, there's already Terran units over here ready to just stim in, and that's very quick because the medevac's aren't even out over there. And Trap just doesn't realize this, so Trap is going to be in some trouble right away. He's going to blink up here, and Q might have to go running back. He's actually going to just get a medevac kill. So Q's going to pull back to defend, but now he's jumping on the third base, and those probes are going down, and there's just no units over here at all. I mean, maybe recall even? Like, it just doesn't look like we have a pretty situation. There's a few units showing up. There is no healing on these units, right? The 11 probes, a sentry, and just about a Stalker at the very end as well. Making the most of that as the Warp Prism continues on in. So continuing that Prism, 6 gates coming up in the charge. Still about to complete. More Marines still moving to the upper left-hand side. Just seeing the rest of these Stalkers. Health Trap moving around a little bit as well. And that charge upgrade completing now too. So again, that charge upgrade finished. The Observer on the way from Trap. And a couple of additional racks coming through from Kira as well. So all of this just still on the way up right here. Medevac flies away to the far right-hand side. Just game calming down again. At least Trap has the third base alive, but again, those losses to the workers just means that Kira is getting into a very good position when it comes to the economy at the moment, so really is looking pretty awesome in that regard. Has a huge amount of bio going to start working its way down to the south, and probably has the opportunity of running in toward that third Nexus again. We'll see if Trap can be in position to deal with it. He has got, I believe, a scouting pylon down here. In fact, the probe just went down, so pylon should be soon to follow. I mean, there's the Zealots, though, so actually a counterattack from Trap. Let's see if he can also defend the third base at the same time. Because that's a lot of Zealots, mind you. So you're going to have some work to do here as Cure to clean that up. He's going to have a lot of work to do, in fact, to clean that up. As he does push in here, but Super Battery goes off, so he has to back it away. And this could be where this game just swings around into maybe, possibly, Trap's favor. Let's find out, because I mean, the Zealots still haven't done a lot of damage. Obviously, lots of SCVs running. Units just reinforcing, though, getting cleaned out instantly. Looks as though Q is just going to pull all the way back home to deal with this. I really thought he was going to be able to get a lot done on that third base, but no, he just got turned around instantly, and well, this is really bad for Q now, because he's just not had any reinforcements for the last little while. Everything's gone retreating, so now you get full focus on the attack going across here as well. Yeah, this does not look good at all for Q. Let's see if he can somehow hold this off. His army supply is actually looking decent, so maybe he can, especially as these Stalkers are kind of on their own at the front. Problem is, following up from this, he's going to have very few SCVs, only 25 workers left in the game. His 1-1 upgrades will help to carry him a little bit, but I feel like Trap may be sticking around a bit too long. Like these sentries, they're going to be in some serious trouble now as well, so they all go down. Q might just open himself up the chance to counterattack, if nothing else. I mean, a lot of SCVs dead. Kinda has to go, doesn't he? He's got an army supply advantage, but no splash damage in the game from Trap, and that could be Trap's downfall. Problem is, I think Q is probably at this point thinking, well, I've been across this map a couple times when I should be able to deal damage, and I've just not been able to get anything done. He Stalkers in now, a mule goes down. Gonna stop the Bioforce over to the right side. Just gonna see more simulators setting up as well. The thing is, Trap doesn't have anything on the map right now to keep Kira back again, so if he wants to try and buy some time, he just can't, right? Like, there's no Prism anymore. He does have some Zealots on the top right, so they're going to move in on their own. It's going to be a bit of a pre-warning. Kira cannot turn around to that. He has to just find a defense against those with reinforcements. He needs his main army to move down here. Shame that he didn't actually clean out that pylon before, because that maybe would have denied Trap the information on this a little longer. These force fields need to be good. You need a Trap units, and that isn't it, actually. That's just going to help the Terran army and funnel the Zealots in. So those force fields were not the best to begin with, and now another force field ain't going to do much either, as Q's going to keep on pushing forward. There's a super battery targeted down instantly. There's no Zealots in this army, as Widow Mines are going to go into the mineral landing. Q's attack across the map. We were talking about this counter. Big cancel on the warp in as well. First Colossus shows up, but there's no support for that Colossus. It gets to a battery. Is it enough? The Colossus is living. Kira is still chasing. He's trying to get rid of it. He finally does. It takes way longer than it should have done, though. Kills off the pylon, denies the robo facility from building another Colossus for the moment as well. That's also going to be huge here, as that is going to be Trap tapping out the game. GG, and ooh, boy, that Colossus just lived forever. I thought that Colossus was going to live so long that Trap was actually going to just win the game because Kira lost everything trying to kill one Colossus. GG. So Lightshade's going to be map number 2, and let's see how it plays out. Kira leading this 1-0. Kira looked deadly in TvP yesterday, and he really was just leading this game a lot as well. He really mishandled the Zealot attack. This was one of those situations where he needed to get more done. Right? He needed to get more done with the Zealots initially. You need to get more done on his... The other side of the map is the Zealots at his main base, and whatever happened there, we didn't get much of a look at it, but there was a super battery, and he just backed away, and that was when he's like, right, I'm going to fully pull home, and you're just so out of position for that attack in, and that's where Trap really did turn the game around from what was a rough start, so... Yeah, it got dangerous for Kira, but he kept his nerve and used the one advantage he did have, and hit the timing that he had to hit, pretty much. So credit to Kira, did what was needed. As we settle down into game 2 here. And see Lightshade, a bit of a smaller map, right? Easier to push across. Might see something more aggressive from the Terran player on this one. Definitely a possibility. Here we get started as the probe nibbles up on the depot. Just going to be seeing the orbital command is building in the main base. And, yeah, Reaper just on its way out as well. Cybernex already going to be starting in the main base of Trap also. That natural expansion coming through. So everything kind of as expected to begin with here. Really nothing too much of an oddity. I think the Nexus started before the Cybercore though, which is a little bit different from usual. Usually you see Cybercore first, then Nexus, and you can even on this map, for example, harass because it's just that size of a map. So that could be argued as interesting, but yeah, I'm not even 100% sure if that's the case. I think it is, though. I think it did start post-Nexus. Anyway, Adept and the Warp Gate coming through. As you just see the factory building up here from Kira. And getting that completed. So once again, Factory, before he expands, this is what he did a lot against Zaun yesterday, and really used it as a way to keep the momentum on his side, you know, really used it as a way to kind of take advantages in the game, and you know, just put Zaun in a bit of a difficult spot. Zaun did not really know where to go. Zaun really was not sure how to set up against that. And he just gave Zaun so much trouble from that. So I like that that's continuing today, because I think that was definitely one of the strengths of his TvP yesterday. And he really had a really good TvP yesterday as well. Like I say, this really was a series against Zaun that was very convincing. So happy to see more of that as you wait for Blink to start. Cool. So pretty much just super standard tier out of Trap at the moment with that Blink on the way up. Really nothing too surprising about that just yet. As the little Reaper Hellion squad comes in. So this is what you've been doing with this early factory. Reaper Hellion combo. I mean, the idea is that you dive past this, right? Absolutely. One Reaper gets blocked back, though. Some of these units are going to get in the main. 3 Reapers and a Hellion, basically, to attempt to deal some damage to these probes. He dives the main because you don't want to fight the battery on the low ground. In the main base, a couple of probes go down. Would say this was not really too successful for Pure. He got held up a bit. Blasting one of his Reapers back didn't help. Good defense from Trap. 3 workers killed. Obviously some lost mining time to add on to that in terms of damage dealt, but typically this is just a good hold here from Trap. Doesn't take too much damage. Let's see if we can deal with the upcoming Widow Mine drop effectively as well. This is going to hit a little bit before Blink, just because of the... Well, is Blink going to be ready? It's going to be very close to Blink being ready. If Blink's ready, you can Blink on top of that, and that's really useful. Let's see if that happens. When a mine drop comes in, yeah, Blink's just not quite ready. Again, just factory before you expand throws those timings up in the air a little bit. But a mine isn't going to go off the probe. Is going to get away. This one of mine going to target a Stalker, but he kind of expected the blink. The Stalker kind of blinked late. Not sure what the delay was there. Maybe Trap just believing it wasn't going to go off right away. Thought it was going to be retargeted one more time. Obviously, didn't turn out to be the case, so kind of end up looking a little bit silly, losing a Stalker when you could have blinked out of trouble. Bit of a shame, but again, not really a, as always, not really a major issue. One Stalker down. It's nice to get, but it doesn't really, put you in a terrible spot. Third base of Trap's about to be done. He will put on a bit of pressure, it seems. Adept. Gonna go up, give high ground vision for these Stalkers. Units in the main base, though, so you're not gonna go blinking into the main, which makes a lot of sense as well. You don't want to be going blinking in there if you don't need to. Now these SCVs in a little bit of trouble, so they take a few shots at the front. 4 workers going down. This tank arrives. It's gonna siege up, push those Stalkers out of there. And the probes is building up on that third base as well. So, yeah, not bad. You get some SCVs. Your own third your own third Nexus comes into play. It's definitely giving you a little bit of an eco edge. The only thing for Trap is Kira's army supply is massive right now. So Trap needs to start turning this eco lead into actual army supply, which he's about to, right? Gates are on the way up, charges on the way. Looks like you'll be able to do that in the fairly near future without too many issues. Well, the Stim and Combat Shield settle down in the main. We do have these few Stalkers just sat out the front. Prism's on the way up, the charges coming through, the extra gates all coming along, and that Forge coming in as well. So all of that just settling down for the moment. As, I mean, Kira's timing's coming up, right? Stim, Combat +1. A lot of this is just being ready for that first push and defending it. A lot of these Temple Archives openings lately have just led to a fairly quick storm as well, so watch out for that. Right now, Temple Archives could just be a feedback on the Rave, and that alone could be pretty useful. We warped in 2 High Templar, though, which suggests we're going to be seeing an Archon. Apparently one of them warped in outside of a Nexus or Gateway, because it is freaking slow warping in. His buddy warped in fast, and he's kind of looking over his shoulder like, buddy, I need you to be an Archon. Hurry it up, beautiful. Actually gets the snipe off on the, or the feedback off on the Raven there. Like I said, that's probably what you're expecting a fast, Temple Archives like that to be. That was the way to kind of play this for a long time against Raven builds. Now you can't anti-armor or auto turret, and that really does depower the Terran army a lot here. Like, a lot of this Terran army push is based around the fact you're going to have the Raven cast. I don't think Q can really do much at the moment, and so we'll see what he does. We'll see if he tries to get a setup into a position at all, but there's a Zealot warp in, or Zealot warp prism heading across the map. That's going to be looking to head into the main base soon, so that's going to be counter damage. And like I say, without the Raven ability, I don't know if there's going to be much possible to do kind of pushing into this base. Although Trap's moving out on the map, he hasn't realized that Kira's on the other side. Oh, did that Zealot just see it? That's massive for Trap if this Zealot just got the scout, because now he can respond and be back in position for a fight which we think he should win. Let's find out if that's true. There's some Widow Mines, I believe, in this medevac that aren't dropping down. The tanks go down very quickly. The Raven does at least get energy back for a single auto turret. Now these Widow Mines coming into play as well, just as these Zealots come out of the prism, where the Widow Mines off to. Good shots on the left side. Not enough of them, though. As Widowmine's still cloaked up, so they're surviving. Nice save on the Archon as Cure making something out of this. This was a messy fight as both were kind of in a weird position about fighting. Trap didn't have that prism brought back, and then Cure kind of didn't get much of a chance to drop his mines off. Super Battery now going down, going to help a bunch. Cure doesn't really want to fight in range of the Super Battery as Widowmine's shot's being soaked by it. Now he is going to push in. I mean, if the Archon is being healed, it does come into this weird little situation where if the Archon's being healed, you actually have time to maybe kill another unit because the Super Battery doesn't retarget itself in time. +1 definitely helping with the trades here. The only thing I'm worried about is I feel like there hasn't been much added for a little while from Trap, but I guess he's got these High Templar now. And assuming they're about to start dropping some storms as Widowmine's getting active again, though. There's the first storm, though, and well, if Cure can dodge the storms, he still has a lot of potential to keep on pushing here. He's going to start backing it up just a little bit, though, so going to give a bit more space back over to his opponent. Well, moving back around, a Bio army coming through the middle. Reinforcements on the way. Gotta remember that Pure actually hasn't reinforced all this time either, right? Like, he has just been going with the same army because he's been terrified of the eventual Warp Prism play. But the Warp Prism's never shown up because it got brought back to this army the first time around. Now gonna get that Archon, which is morphed in from 2 High Templar that dodged a Widowmine shot. Reinforcements are gonna start moving down the left side of the map as well, so setting up for that, bringing this along. Mine's going to set up on the bottom side, so I was going to start charging in. Widowmines don't honestly do that much. Like, they help against the Zealots, but the Zealots were kind of dying anyway, right? The Widowmines felt as though they hit very late. Man, Trap's army supply is just down by about 30, and especially as these armies start to split up a little bit, that's why I feel like we're going to see that really becoming influential. He needs to be kind of carried a little bit by the storms. Nice scan from Cure. He's like, well, you knew instantly I was running at you, so there must be an observer on my army. And he just scans it and gets rid of it right away. It's a really good catch. Makes it tougher for Trap to hit those perfect storms next time around. Double Widowmine shot hitting Immortals. The second one actually got soaked by the barrier that was up, so only shield damage done, but that does weaken them a little bit ahead of the fight, if the fight was to happen down there. It will not, as some Zealots do run in, but I believe Cure has units back over here that are just coming through where the cameras are. Yep, there they are, so you shouldn't lose a lot as he splits up here. Pretty decent dodges, but Super Battery going to keep units alive. But it does force the Super Battery, and that maybe opens the window elsewhere to strike with the 35 army supply lead. Cure just has had so much army this entire time, but now Colossi are coming up. Cure's army might need to tech up a little bit further. What you're starting to do, Vikings on the way, Enhanced Shockwaves on the way. It is starting to get there, so progress is being made. Grab a Stalker, rest this Bioforce moving through the right-hand side. More High Templar finishing up. Here go these Medivacs loading up. They're going to jump into the main base now. A couple of extra Zealots warping in as we're going to start unloading here. This Bioforce is going to start a fight. A couple of Zealots in some trouble as the battery is going to get taken down. I like this, just taking the fight elsewhere. We already talked about the army supply advantage, so splitting up units is going to be a little bit tougher for Trap to do than it is for Cure. Those Widowmines, Trap didn't see them right away, and they do go off, only one of them. If the second had gone off, that would have been 2 dead High Templar. As now Trap pushes this attack out of his main base. Enhanced Shockwaves is nearly here. These ghosts are coming through, and the power that's going to improve the Terran army by is going to be pretty substantial. And at this stage, this really becomes a duel of who can position better, who can take the better fights. In this later game TvP, this has been a stellar TvP, really, because there's been a good mix of aggression, defended Warp Prism attacks, defended counters, on both sides as well, really. Both playing great defensive, and I guess Trap not doing much on the offense, but still taking some good engagements when necessary. Marines taking some hits. Big EMP on those High Templar. They're going to instantly morph into Archons. The rest of the army just wasn't here. Kind of like single filing down this ramp just means they were just not going to be in position in time to fight. And now Trap's actually going to take a bit of an army supply lead for the first time in a while. Off the back of a decent fight. Can Cure collapse on this army on the right side? Don't think so, because half of his army's on the high ground. So Cure's in a weird position all of a sudden. He's got those Vikings chasing for some damage where possible. Remember, he's got a good amount of EMPs to utilize here as well. If Trap wants to take a fight, it's very possible he goes into that fight with 0 shields on his army. Right now, he seems to think that isn't too much of a problem as Cure. Gonna start pulling the SCVs into this as well. Anything he can to try and help him survive. 2-2 against just +2, but that might not be enough to survive all this splash damage. Units are just not getting on top of those Colossi. Here come a couple of Vikings, but Stalker count's still okay to get rid of them. And I think Cure, who really played a pretty good game, might be in some trouble here. He is actually going to start chasing this away, though. Reinforcements now showing up a little bit late to the party. EMPs just went down before this Archon gets here, which is a shame, too. Because if that EMPs are available for the Archon, that goes down so quickly. Cure just lost a lot of SCVs in this fight, if nothing else, and that's where Trap should be able to take advantage coming out of this. Having the worker lead is pretty serious. And it's a big worker lead, too. Cure just kept the pressure up for a long time, but Trap really found the one moment where Cure let it slip, and that fight when he's kind of running down the ramp wasn't really a fight, but just Trap getting so many units while deflecting elsewhere at the same time really just put you into this position where Trap has been able to kind of come through and, well, pretty much guarantee this win in the near future, right? I mean, yeah. Just gonna see those Colossi and Archons coming through. I don't think there's anything for Cure to hold this off. It's GG, and we are going to a Game 3 in this best of 5. With it all tied up, 1-1. Alrighty, so let's dive on into game number 3, guys. Sorry, this really did start up a lot faster than usual. I thought I had an extra minute to catch your breath and to take a drink, but all good, all good. As Cure, he's gonna move his SDV out onto the map and gonna put that into a position to begin the proxying. Kind of a fake proxy, right? He's gonna hide the racks and just try and scare Trap into overreacting when the reality is he's not gonna do it. And I mean, this is obviously playing the mind games of the series. You know, Trap is during this series thinking, well, you know, you've been playing the, you know, aggressive openings, you've been very slow to expand, and now you're going to see no racks in the main base with your probe scout. Immediately you're going to think, well, what are you doing this time? But in reality, it's not going to be that committed. Cure will build a Reaper and typically fly that barracks back into the main base. So yeah. Like I said, Probe's just going to run around everywhere here. The only question I have is, do we build the factory in a proxy location too, or is the factory going to come in the main base? Because if you build the factory here as well, you can really fake the idea of, oh my god, you know, everything's proxied. And like I say, definitely try and get an overreaction out of Trap. Trap already building a Zealot, which you wouldn't usually need in this situation if you knew the racks was at home. He is going to build the factory here as well. Yeah, that Zealot just not really necessary, and that slows the Nexus down by 100 minerals already, so you're already doing a bit of damage to the Protoss player, inadvertently. So you move the Probe back up into the main base, just going to have a little look around, and just going to be seeing the Reaper on the way out from Cure. So Reaper's coming through, that's the second Reaper, and again with the factory on the way up, we're going to be seeing, obviously, just the ability to build a factory unit early too. I mean, actually, Cure's just got Trap's just going to say, well, I'm not really too worried about the Reaper. My Stalker's on the way out to deal with this. I'm going to send the Zealot across the map because I don't need to try and slow down any bunkers from building or anything, right? So he's now going to try and make use of the early investment he made because of what he scouted. So this is where the second Reaper comes in useful. He's actually going to go 3 Reapers and probably then 2 Hellions once again here, despite its lack of success in the last game. Hoping it can maybe do something this time around. Obviously, 2 Reapers are revealed. The Zealot falls back to the Stalker, so it's going to get out without being in too much trouble as well. Just start pushing through. That Stalker being chased. You can't chase big time as the grenade goes down. Stalker's going to get blasted. And the Zealot coming in there to swipe away at a Reaper as well. Council going to be done soon. Trap sticking to the Twilight builds and that early blink. Pretty much what he's been going for throughout the series. So not really much of a change up there, in all honesty. So yeah, I mean, why change up what's more or less been working? There's nothing wrong with the blink. At the end of the day, blink is the go-to standard. It's the go-to and standard for a good reason. because it is just kind of expected to be safe. It gets you into a good position, puts you in a good place, you know? Sniper Hub's back out and just going to be pulling away. Command Center finishing up. And the main going to morph that up into an orbital, and a second rack's added on now as we start looking at a transition here from Cure into that full-on Bioforce. Yeah, Trap's at the sort of position where he wants to go into a third Nexus right here, right? As these Adepts... Oh, sorry, these Reapers are going to fight the Adept. Adept for Reaper. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's this sort of timing where, you know, as Trap, you typically look to take a third base, but with being a bit unsure about the game, he's not going to do that yet. Only 2 gases still, so still should be a fairly quick third. As everything just gets back into the main, and Kyo just takes his natural. I mean, that's why you're not taking the third, right? Because Kyo doesn't have his natural up yet, so you're not in a rush to take it, and you just want to make sure you're safe and secure. Not overcommit, and that's a dead medevac. Yeah, but the Widow Mines will get burrowed. 1 Stalker dead. Now a probe will go down, and the other Widow Mine is obviously going to stay troubling. Oh, over on the bottom side, and he actually gets a few more probes than expected. The 1 probe that was late to run dragged into all the others. And that's 6 workers killed in total. So that was a 5-kill Widow Mine. Thanks to the drag of the probe. He betrayed his probe buddies, and, well, I bet he'd rather be dead, because if he was still alive, they'd all be looking at him like, you did this. This is your fault. Shame. Shame on you. Stalker's blinking up and grabbing a Hellion. As we see these Stalkers coming in, and the Reaper is going to get taken down. So Reaper will fall. Once again, just seeing our Robo Bay now on the way up. Thanks to building through, and we do have those few Marines nearly able to grab the Observers, so Observer just trying to give you an opportunity to do something here as Trap, but you're pretty well defended, and we're really getting to a nice little mid-game where the Trap third base is late, but obviously Q's economy was a little bit off from where it should have been as well with the later expansion. It's just a pretty comfortable position across the board. We're going to blink in for the tank. 2 Stalkers die here? Well, 2 Stalkers die. There's the blink away available as well, so he didn't put the auto turret down Q, knowing that the Stalkers were just going to blink out of the fight at the end. Nexus drops down in that low ground. So just getting that set up. The Observer going to pop in from Trap to try and see just a little of what's going on. Yeah, I mean, at this stage, I like this little attack from Q around the top side. Pretty good chance of maybe getting onto that third base and maybe getting some damage done. Even if you're just catching a few probes or so and then you get out of there. There's only really sentries at home at the moment. Trap is focused on defending the bottom side, expecting that's where the push is likely to come from. Q's done this on Oxide as well, right? Where he kind of sends some units along this map without the medevacs. Like I say, Trap is just not quite picking up on that. And if you start moving out with the main army now, especially with that Observer dead, Trap might have to start respecting that bottom side of the map a lot, and that could really open the door for the top left group of units to dive on in and get that damage done. That's a little bit of a move as he is pushing down the bottom side with that main army as well. Should have preferred if he maybe waited for the main army to strike a little more before this movement comes in. No, I guess it's going to work. Kind of work, actually. 5 workers, 6. He's going to pull a few units still back up over here. And, oh, beautiful force field. Wow. What a way to grab a bunch of units then. Well, pretty decent split from Trap. I mean, 6 workers isn't so bad considering the bio units given up there. If they'd all gotten out alive, well, that's a different situation, right? Then it's pretty cost-free from here, and then we do kind of worry about Trap a bit. As he loses pylons, he's going to be supply blocked for a little bit. There are matrices available for the Colossi if that Raven can stay alive and healthy. What is the play here from Q? Trap is sending Zealots across the map. There are units here from Q to deal with Zealots. Just going to load up into the main base again. We scan one spot. I think you're just going to double Matrix the Colossi. Yeah, double Matrix goes off. The High Templar did not find the feedback. Wait, did he just double Matrix the same Colossus? I think he did. That's probably going to mean we're not going to commit to this. Yeah, I thought double Matrix and you go, but yeah, I think he Matrixed the same Colossus twice. The Marines up here doing whatever else they can, but this is pretty much the end of Kira's initial aggression. We do land a late feedback on that Raven, which is still nice because it's going to remove the energy for future intentions, so it's going to have to rebuild its energy up from the start all over again. So it might just slow you down a little bit further as a couple more High Templar. That's going to come in and they're just going to try and move up with the rest of that army. Zealots run to the far right, but they're not going to get anywhere, and they end up turning back away to the upper side of the map. So Zealots are going to start pulling back. The Bio army was chasing them. And Kira did make sure that those Zealots, at the very least, didn't do any counter damage, right? So that's a pretty big positive here. Seeing this army of trap, kind of moving through the bottom side, going to start morphing in Archon. It's going to be seeing the Forge, the Robo Facility, extra structures coming through, Trap establishing himself for the future. This army of Kira is definitely terrifying, though. I mean, it's kind of the same as the last game, right? Kira seems to have one big army that's scary, but if Trap can hold this off, he's going to recover into having a really good setup. The one difference is going to be tanks instead of Widow Mines. Tanks can obviously hold down a position really, really well. So let's see what they can do. As the first disruptor shot's going to land in the dead center of nothing. Moving a bit further to the left-hand side. It's continuing to set up against this. A Stalker going down. Another disruptor shot going to fire. Tank gets hit. Not hurting too much, though. It's just going to be seeing still kind of, this army just advancing through at the moment. So continue to bring this forward. Other Zealots continue to charge on in. Tank fire is looking good, as that hallucinated Phoenix will go down as well. You're just going to see that Raven kind of wandering forward, gets taken down. Was wondering if he was looking for a cast or something there, but obviously didn't quite find it. He is going to realize the disruptors on this ramp are easy pickings, and that's actually a great start to this fight from Kua. As now 2 more disruptors come in. They'll get rid of 1 siege tank, but that doesn't really get the job done for Trap. And Trap is just not going to do anything in this fight at all. Disruptors keep on falling. These Colossi are in trouble, and the supplies will tell you the tale that this one is going to be ending in probably Q's favor in the very near future, because Trap has a 70 army supply disadvantage. And, well, okay, there's no bio units left here, but there's some tanks to hold the position. There's more Vikings in case a Colossus pops. And there are the reinforcements that Kira has just been building up and safely keeping at home in case of the counterattack from Trap. Kira really handling this well, and really just slowly putting himself into a good position to close out this game number 3. Kira looking to take the lead of this 2-1. GG called. Again, kind of plays similar to Lightshade in the sense of there's a lot of just aggressive attacks from Kira that builds up into something good, and on Lightshade he just let that slip. On this map, he did not let it slip in the slightest. He pushed through to the victory. Trap. Bounce back, tie the series up again. Jagannath will be his map pick. Sorry, I said Oxide, referring to Game 1. It was Romanticide, Game 1 of this series. I apologize. As we get this up and running, let's get this underway. As Trap is top right, Q is bottom left. Protoss players, they like to pick this map. Why do they like to pick this map? It's a shortish rush distance, but otherwise a larger map in general. There's not a lot of really good positions you can push with tanks on this map and set them up, etc. And there's good counterattack potential, there's good warp prism space around the main base. As usual. If a map is good for a certain race, just a lot of little positives. They kind of add up to meaning that the other race doesn't really like to play on it all so much, Well, Trap was the best all-around PvT in the world. Yeah, I think he is. He was just really good as well. The thing is, Trap was absolutely the best PvT in the world like a year or 2 years ago. I think he still really does hold that title, but it's maybe not as definite as it is now, or as it used to be, So yeah. 3 racks opening here this time around from Cure. As we set this up. I think for a little while, Zest was kind of top PvT this year. Like, going into Katowice. When was it that we casted our tournament with Zest and he just, like, stomped everybody? There was a WardiTV. It was either the... Was it the Spring Championship? Yeah, and he just... His PvT in that event was just like, geez. Zest, can you not? Like, it was terrifying. I think he also did that in another event of ours this year as well. Was it WardiTV 2021 where his PvT was just, like, again, terrifying? Yeah, he won that event too. And he went like 3-0 NO, 3-0 Cure, 4-1 TY. I think, and that was just before Katowice, and he looked terrifying in PvT in Katowice too. I really think Zest was probably could have taken that PvT best in the world title for a while. There was just something about his games, man. He was just swarming people. He was just killing people. Came in with a bit of like an adjusted style, and people were just like, I don't get it. You're floating 1k minerals, and you're just completely destroying my army. It's not even close. So yeah. Zest definitely had that title maybe for a little bit this year. Hey, there's 3 racks opening then. Let's talk about this, because it is a pretty major difference from what we've seen before. From going, you know, build after build after build TSQ, where you delay the expansion, etc. Now he's actually in this really interesting position where he is not just delaying the expansion for a factory opening, he's delaying the expansion and building bio units, right? So he's going to be on like a 1 base bio timing. Now, Trap, I think, is probably going to play fairly safe here. But what Cure is showing Trap is just nothing to be, you know, completely wary of. And, you know, as far as Trap's concerned, there's even a 4th Rax here. As far as Trap is concerned, this may very well just be kind of like another one of those, you know, factory setups. But I think Trap knows a little bit. 3 extra gates coming down. That's going to be massive for Trap. Additional gateways here to help. It's going to go a long, long way. When do we push his Cure? It's got to be kind of soon. Like, you can't wait too long with this. Trap kind of needs a battery, though. One Stalker, one Adept finds these Marines, and now gonna find a couple more Marines. The CQ is really trying to hide this, but now it's being seen, and now Trap knows, and now Trap has a chance to build up batteries. The only thing I have an issue with is that... Warp Prism? No, I don't think the Warp Prism's the right call. A bit of micro potential. I think an Immortal helps here. SCVs are pulling. I don't think Trap realizes quite how aggressive this is gonna be. 1 battery and an extra pylon at the front. I was going to say you need an extra pylon because you can kill so much there by taking that down. What's Kyo want to do as he moves up this ramp? Stalker's going to start backing away. Trap definitely knows what's happening. Blink is now done. 39 to 19 army supply. I just can't get over the Warp Prism. I don't see what the Warp Prism does for you here. Here we go, moving in. Good force field. Gonna give you a chance to get this super battery up and active for a while, but now the super battery gets targeted down. There's the opening in, and now these Stalkers are just blinking back to safety. So many probes going down as Cure continues through, and these Stalkers are a little bit stuck in the back of the natural. Cure, how do you continue this though? He's gonna get rid of the pylon at the front and powering the Robo. Prism could maybe set up a warp-in field to power the Robo for a little bit longer. I think Trap's starting to get to a decent position when it comes to the army supply. These Stalkers obviously have a lot of potential with the Blink to stay back and stay safe. If Cure stims one more time, his units are going to go even lower on HP. And this is where the additional gates of Trap really went a long way. That wall in the front bought him a lot of time. And Cure can maybe get a bunch more probes, and maybe this game goes on. But of course, there's no expansion back at home for Cure either. As he gets a couple more Stalkers here at the very end. SCV trying to drill for one last one. Yeah, now the Robo gets repowered by the Prism, so you get an Immortal out. And this attack did not work from Cure. Trap did a really good job of buying time by continuing to scout and scout and scout with the Adept. And that made Cure unsure. He didn't want to show the army, right? So Cure backed up multiple times because of the Adept scouting. And then the Adept still scouted it in the end. And that means that Trap is going to turn this around. Yeah, just having to use so much of your first stim on the first, as we see some Marines going to try and dive bomb in, but they're not going to do enough. Trying to use your first... Having to use your first stim to kill a gateway and then to push through onto the super battery, you're basically forcing a double stim before your army as Trap even has to fight. So having that wall in is really essential. And that force field really allowed for that as well, because all you could hit from the force field was the gateway. So you have to fight the gateway. You can't just fight the battery straight up. And I think that was a... Let's dive in. Bottom left side will be Trap. Top right side will be Cure. Oxide, a decided map of this series. Oh, I'm excited for us to get to a Game 5. I really think that, some of these matches in this tournament really deserve that, so... Let's see what we get up to here is... Probes being chrono boosted out, Gateway coming up, and just going to be seeing our racks on the way in from Cure 2. It's just all of this setting up at the moment. Just taking a moment myself to settle down into this. Game number 5. Reactor opening from Cure. I really do like the way that Cure played this in terms of like the overall series, I really think that a lot of the build order choices made a lot of sense. He's had all these factory-focused openings, then he hits him with the 4 racks off one base, which is kind of wild, but like the mind game really was there. Now we're going to have a reactor opening. To just go into the most normal expansion we've seen out of Cure all series long. And that's also terrifying for Trap, because Trap has no prior information in this series now as to how Cure will play off of a standard opening like this one. He's going to change it up completely himself as well. That's a Stargate proxy pylon if I've ever seen one. Halfway across the map. A little bit of a corner, somewhere you might not quite see as Q if you scout. Oh, it's a Robo! Oh, wow. I guess maybe a Stargate's more off to the side. Maybe the Robo was more obvious. Maybe I'm getting caught up on something, Yeah, maybe I'm getting caught up and kind of lying to myself there. Ah, Robo. He is expanded. The Robo proxied. That's crazy. So, obviously the Prism hits a bit sooner. Immortal reinforcements come a little bit sooner. Do you even go as far as to go something wild like a, Robo Bay? Maybe. That probe of, Trap hanging out over to that right-hand side. There's that Robo facility finishing up and is going to start up an Observer. So whatever he wants to do, he wants an Observer to know what he's fighting into. He wants the information, he's really going to prioritize that. And then the Immortal. So the Observer also gives you high ground vision, so the Immortal can fight up the ramp more easily. With the 3 racks follow-up, I feel like you're in the best case scenario to defend against this. So the thing is against like an Immortal setup, is the 3 racks is going to be a bit weak until upgrades come in, but you're going to have at least a lot of units. Whereas with a factory or so, you have very few units, but very powerful units. So it's much harder to split up into the right places. Right now, this Stalker's already doing damage. This is really, really good, because anything you can weaken this Terran army by right now is only going to help massively when this Immortal shows up. So Trap is actually going to force SCVs to pull here. A scan would be really nice if you realize that the high ground vision is there and the Observer's there. He's not quite noticed that, but he is about to have the bunker. That puts an end to the Stalker pressure, but then the Immortal's showing up. I mean, how many Marines did he just shave off? 3, 4, 5? Now a Prism on the way, so now you've got to defend the main base without a bunker, and that's where it's going to become tricky. But Stim and Combat Shields are over halfway done, so you've got a really fine timing here as Trap to get in here and do this damage. I mean, he's going Twilight behind it. He's got a follow-up plan. Akira doesn't realize that Trap is going to go to the main base, right? So Trap's going to get a full unload in the main base without Kira realizing it. This is almost guaranteed a must-pull SCV situation. But how far? I mean, Stim is so close. Stim is really, really close. I think Trap's taking too long to make this happen. Stim is here. I mean, okay, you've got a force field on the ramp, though. Oh, so you can't get the units up the ramp because of the force field. So Kira's going to sit back and wait. He's got his units are just going across the map. So he's going to try and force a bit of a base trade scenario. Batteries are building because I assume Trap's idea is that he's going to have to recall. So you're going to build the batteries to recall and defend. A couple of Marines out. SCVs are just going to pull in to try and fight some of these units. Warpins being used on this side of the map. Generally going to help you. Here comes the bio attack on the other side. Batteries targeted down right away. Probes will be in some trouble, making up for these SCVs that are already being lost. Obviously, the big difference right now is maybe the difference in production, but more Marines coming out. He's going to start holding this off. Stalkers are going down. And don't forget that Kira's army is still on the other side of the map. So as Kira's army is still in play, we're going to see a lot of these probes going down. And a lot of damage being done at the moment. I mean, the Immortals showing up right now. These couple Stalkers, the Marines, can they get anything more done? So many probes lost. Trap on 10 workers. Kira on 17. Trap has a bit of an army supply lead. Does he have potential to counterattack, maybe? You know, because he still has the Prism, right? 3 Immortals up. There's only 11 Marines on the map as Kira. This attack right now is definitely the bigger problem, but he's going to deflect the Prism to begin with. It's a massive start. He needs to keep this Prism from the main base as best as possible. A lot of Traps units moving back across the map. These Marines going in for a bit more damage. Marauder coming up. I mean, Barracks just churning out whatever they can, but Immortal's now going to go up the ramp at the front. Is the bunker still there? I think so. Second bunker build, and he's going to stim that, but I mean, it's going to go down quickly. So now you're going to have to jump in the second bunker, which, to be fair, is going to finish up just in time to go down. We're stimming forward here. We're taking this fight. These Immortals can micro in the Warp Prism. The Warp Prism is the one thing that there's just no answer to here for Kira. Using these SCVs as buffer takes a lot of the Immortal shots, and he does push this away for the moment. And this game goes on. This game goes on. Immortals moving through. We are going to be having this third CC taking some hits. I mean, sorry, third CC. Natural CC taking some hits. I mean, Kira's kind of stabilizing on his army, but he can't overstim. If he overstims, his army's just going to kill itself, right? He's got no medevacs here. He has got a factory, and he's building a siege tank. The siege tank's an interesting choice, and I don't mind the siege tank. It's just, it provides a lot of defense, but it's also against a Prism with Immortals inside. It's very vulnerable, right? It's easily picked off. You're going to have to pull SCVs, right? You need the SCV buffer. The problem is, if you hard commit into this fight, you stim and then trap disengages with the force fields, you got to be so careful with your stim. That CC is taking damage, by the way. Kira needs to make sure he does repair it. He's got a couple SCVs on it. Here comes the tank. Tank's going to be massive, really holds the position. Now, the tank is actually going to be the reason you can start pushing this back properly. What a clutch defense there. And immediately Kira knows that these Immortals want that siege tank. He knows exactly what they are aiming for. Tank is going to take damage. Good force field is going to keep the army at bay. That's kind of what we just talked about before, keeping the army at bay, etc. SCVs pulling in as the Marines trading decently, but not good enough. Trap is going to do it. Trap is going to set up a PvZ finals against Solar in this tournament as Kira just couldn't quite hold on in this final game. A ridiculous ending to an awesome series. As Trap will come through and Kira just does not have enough. That tank kill was massive. Kira knew what was going to happen. I'm kind of surprised because it was on the ramp. It was so easily kind of reachable, right? Warp Prism goes down. If only that happened a minute or two ago. Trap knows that this is over, and he knows that he's won it. He's going to the finals. GG from Kira. Trap 3, Kira 2. That means we get a Maru Kira best of 5 third place match and Trap Solar best of 7 grand final. What a crazy best of 5 TvP though.